So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mind Boost episode number 5. As you can see today, with a special guest, Adrian from Spain. Hello, Adrian.
Hello, Adam. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you? Because you told me you've been
I'm
kind of sick for the last days, right? But are you feeling better already?
I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling the energy back, and I'm excited to have this conversation with you today.
Awesome. Let's go. That's the energy that we need, right? Awesome. I mean, so first of all, thank you so much for your time, obviously, because we are recording this at like 10 a.m. in the morning today, guys. So, the dedication is real. So anyway, maybe, just to give the people, that are listening or like watching right now some perspective, who are you? Maybe just introduce yourself real quick.
Okay, I realized that I'm in that moment in my career that people start asking me, who are you? Great. So basically, hard question, really. Like, really, who are you? Who I am? Okay, I'm going to start by the basic. I'm Adrian. As Adam mentioned, I'm from Spain and I'm 24 years old. So not your typical high school dropout, 17 years old and everything, but yeah, still, I think pretty young. And yeah, right now I will define myself as I like to start project. I'm in many right now, but especially the main one is a startup that recently has made a huge milestone that I'm sure we will talk about right
definitely
in the conversation. But yeah, I come from a normal family, like actually very rural family. I have studied architecture. I have dropped out of it. I have joined a startup. I have started many projects, failed many others, and then I think we are here.
No, that's awesome. I think it's a very exciting, background story. But anyways, you just mentioned that you went to university, right? But then you decided to drop out. Could you maybe explain why you actually dropped out? Like, what was the reason behind that?
Yeah, definitely. So for this, I think I have to go back a bit in the story. I know that many people, when they are 16, 17, maybe early, maybe more later, they struggle to figure out what they want to do with their life, what they want to study, what they want to get into. But in my case, that wasn't the situation. Since I was like 12 years old or something like that, I started to read about books of architecture. I have been always good about drawings and design in general. So I figured out that architecture could be the way. So in my case, like I have things pretty clear, like I'm going to be an architect. Not only I'm going to be an architect, I'm going to be the best one. I'm going to do pretty good things and everything. And as I have that pretty clear, I never second thought that, and I just go straight with it. So during high school and everything, I wasn't the best student. Like if it came to a subject like drawing and everything, or history and philosophy and that kind of things, I really love it, and I had good grades. But when it came to math, physics and that kind of thing, I was a horrible student.
Feel you, same.
Thank you. No, but yeah, that's a topic for another day. But I don't know how, but I managed to pass every semester and everything. And this really, I don't know how I managed to get into the architecture school, because it's like suddenly the level of admission was pretty high. It always has been like that. But suddenly my year, like people lost interest into architecture or something, and the admission curve dropped, and I was there like, hello. So yeah, still to this day, I don't know how, but I managed to enter to the architecture school, and the first the first 1-2 years was the absolutely dream. Like I was doing exactly what I figured out that it would be, and I was feeling like very proud of myself, not only for getting into, but also like that kind of feeling that you are in the right path and you are progressing. And yeah, I feel like that, but when it came to the third year or fourth year, things start to get technical, and it's not that it's good or bad, it's that it wasn't my fit. So for me, I'm a creative person, and I always think I like to think more about the project and how it's going to be and everything. And the early process, the starting, the conceptualization phase, more than the execution, like I don't know, like the technicalities, like the construction, the everything. No?
Yeah.
You know that I'm not that good at that part. So at the same time, like this is something that I always keep pretty low key, but my family was struggling financially. I think at that point, like 3-4 years ago, it was when all this entrepreneurship stuff started to pop up, and there were many YouTube videos about it. So I started to get to know more about the financial system, the entrepreneurship, that kind of path of the way, and I started to question myself the decisions I took like when I was 12 years old. So suddenly the career didn't look as fantastic and everything. Like it started to drop in the creativity aspect, and everything was more technical. At least here in Spain, the typical grade is like 5 years plus 1 year and everything. And I was in my second, third year, and was like, it was like, I'm never going to get out of here. Like from Yale, you can get out. From architecture school, you can't.
That's true.
So yeah, and it was like, it wasn't from one day to the another, I'm going to drop out. This seems like really cool. I think many people idealize that situation, and I think that's something that can break your identity, especially for me, that I took that decision of I'm going to become an architect. And I took that decision myself since I was 12, because in my case, like my mom, the best mom in the world, what can I say, but she never put any pressure on me. So it was more me wanting to get into it, not the typical story that your parents tells you you have to study at medical school or something. It wasn't the case, but I put the pressure on me because I told myself, I told my family, I told my friends, I told everyone that I was going to be an architect. So suddenly that decision was like breaking my own identity. And for actually, it took me like between 2 to 3 years to drop out. Like I was in my 5th year, even though I wasn't taking my 5-year semester and everything, right? 5-year course. But it took me to that point to actually say it, make it, and commit to it and drop out. And yeah, once again, it wasn't a random or impulsive decision. It was more a strategic decision, but so maybe that's because that's the way I am. Like I'm very rational, and I have to rationalize everything and have everything take down to plan. So I suppose that maybe if I look back, maybe I would took the decisions much sooner. But at the same time, things has to be the way it is, and it has worked out the way it is. So I'm really grateful for the path.
Awesome. I mean, I only can imagine how hard it had to be to take the decision to actually drop out of university, right? Because like you just mentioned, during this time, like during those years, like those 2 years, right, that you have been in university, yeah, you kind of, like you mentioned, develop this identity of okay, I'm going to be an architect, right? That's what my life is going to be. I have this in my mind. And then you kind of dropped out and you broke this mental image of yourself and of your future as well at the same time. So haven't you been scared during the time that, like maybe something won't work out, or like that this maybe isn't the right decision? Like what was the kind of thinking?
I think usually you know the right decision and it's something that you just know. But when it comes to communicate from your inside to your outside, you start to question yourself. Like now is the family input, what your family is going to say. Now is your friends input, what your friends are going to say. Now is your society input, like being a dropout, the consequence, everything. Now is you yourself, again, question yourself, like, I'm going to be able to make it, like I'm taking the right decision where I'm putting myself into. I tell you, like I have watched all that YouTube videos of high school dropout, kindergarten dropout, and everything, and looks pretty sick. And in some point, I agree that it's very liberating, and sometimes your ego gets in place and you want to show off that you make the right decisions and that you are right, the rest of the society is wrong and everything. So I understand where that comes from, but at the same time, I can tell you that the moment of the decision and until you finally commit to the decision is fucking hard, like really. So sorry for
yeah, no worries.
It's really hard, and as you mentioned, like it breaks your identity. It consumes your head just by thinking of the many different paths you can end up, like the good ones, the bad ones, and everything.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, great. Thank you so much for sharing. So until to this day, I guess you don't really regret the decision, right? That you actually dropped out.
Definitely not. Like,
okay.
I think it's something that, as I mentioned, you feel that is the right decision. Then you first understand why you want to make the decision, and then the homework is to see how do you do it. Like it's for example, like I don't know, you feel like you want to move abroad to live in another country. Okay, you have the decision, you figure it out. Now it's like, okay, where are you going to live? How are you going to get it? How much money do you need? So it's a process.
And by the way, for all the listeners and viewers, we aren't saying that you have to drop out of university, right? Like it's not the message that we are trying to conduct here. But just if you really feel like it's the right decision, then perhaps it might be actually the right decision. But anyways, okay, so then you dropped out. And then you started out different things, right? You tried out different things. And then you eventually came, in touch with that startup, right? So maybe let's elaborate on that. Like, let's talk about how that actually worked out.
Yeah. So once again, the important is not to make the decision, because in some way, if you trust your intuition, you already made the decision a while back ago. Is the how you make it. So for my case, it wasn't a moment of burn the bridges, I'm going to go this way and everything. It was exactly the opposite. Like I was more you are always more calm in the university than when you make this decision. Like once you commit to that, all the pressure is in you, like as I mentioned, family, friends, and society.
Like real life, right?
Yeah. because when you are studying, no one expects no one expects anything from you more than just study. But once you take this path, you have to show that, as you mentioned, in real life, how are you going to take care? If you don't study, you have to work. What are you going to do with your life and everything? So for my case, it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to do that. So in summer 2020, I think it was, like in May, around May or everything, I decided that I was going to take the subject I already took. I'm going to pass it. I'm going to close that chapter. I had pending my internship, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take the internship, close that. So I'm not going to take this approach like a loser. I'm going to take this approach as a closer. I'm going to end a phase, and I'm not going to continue. So for some periods of my life, for a few months, was like I was still in university, committing to the final subjects, making the internship into an architecture studio. I was taking side jobs, like for an electrician to make floor plans for him. I was with my own project, and suddenly the key one that I found, Borja, which was the founder from the startup we are going to talk about. But for a random event of life, like we have mentioned this many times in the program, like those
coincidences.
Coincidence. And yeah, the story is funny, but I finished all that. I finished my last work for that subject. I just finished the internship. The other thing was like I wasn't that committed. It was something to try. And suddenly I say like, okay, I'm done. I remember perfectly, it was a Friday. I'm done. I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything. I'm going to sit in my home. I open YouTube. I see a course about 3D modeling. I spent the whole weekend doing that because I didn't know what to do. And on Sunday, I upload my creations to Instagram stories, and randomly, like, Borja replied to me, say what you are up to. I thought absolutely nothing. Like right now, I'm really free, and say like, oh, you want to join? I have a project. Do you want to join? And let's say that the rest is history in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are not sure yet how he managed to follow me, because just to put in perspective, he is like a quote unquote influencer. Like he has almost 100,000 followers on Instagram. He wasn't following me. I didn't know him from anything at all. I mean, it was like, I don't know, the algorithm or the life algorithm.
Yeah, the universe brought you guys together. Yeah, it's crazy actually sometimes, right? Sometimes you don't really have an answer to something, but at the end of the day, you don't have to have that answer, right? I mean, it happened, and that's the only thing that matters.
Exactly.
No, that's awesome. So then you guys got in touch, and back then the startup was still in a beginning phase, right? There wasn't much going on, right? When you started, like when you joined, should I say?
Yeah. So one thing, and I imagine that many of your audience is going to be related to business, entrepreneurship, and everything. And I suppose that they kind of understand what a startup is. But if you have ever been into a startup, you will realize that 10 years of a regular business is 1 year of a startup. And 1 year of objectives and things to get done and everything is 1 month, and 1 month is 1 week. So actually, I've been in this startup for around 2 years, but it actually feels like 20. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it was 2 years ago, I entered the startup. As you see, I entered as a graphic designer for Instagram, which, with all my respect, is like the in the digital world, like entering to serve coffee for people in a regular office, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started like that, and I was happy as fuck because I feel like this is my first step into real business, into real life, and that's my major critique with the university or the education system, that the theory from the practice is very separate. So I was really happy, and the startup was like 3 months old, so pretty early. And even though in that moment we thought that next month we launch. So that was the memo. But we continue, and that's May 2020. You know the how the world was at that time.
Yeah.
So we were on remote and everything, but for me it's something that has worked pretty well because I'm an introvert. I like to spend time in my home and everything. So fast forward to that, it's September, and the first friends and family that they raised, I'm going to start some figures to put in contest, especially for the business audience and the entrepreneurs. So the startup started with friends and family, which is like an early seed fund of 50K, which is pretty good in general, but especially in Spain and everything, to kick up the project and start on that. But when I started the company, only 3 months old, and we were already like 60 people. Like maybe on a freelance basis and everything, but we were like that. So when I entered, I had the feeling like, I don't know if you have watched The Wolf of Wall Street, when Jordan Belfort enter the court and see everything and say like, whoa, my first day here. So almost similar story. From May to September, around that, I have a conversation with Borja, and he told me, bro, we are fucked. We are running out of money, and if we don't raise like 300K almost tomorrow, we are going to struggle a lot in the next coming 3 months. So as always, that happened, because I don't know if this is a movie, but it happens that way. Like everything goes to shit. Like at around the 2-3 months, like this is November 2020. We run out of money. When the sea level is low, you see who is naked. So that's a quote unquote. So which I mean with this is like when there were any money to pay to the people, you see who were committed to entrepreneurship or to the project or to the founders or to everything, and who just left, like there is no money. And I understand, like I don't want to sound like aggressive on that sense. I know that the situation is different for each person. If they have to pay rent, they have responsibilities, they have to do things. I understand that you can't be in a project without getting paid and no expectations to get paid soon. But for my case, like I just drop out. Like this was my first step into business. I really feel like I could learn a lot, and I have zero responsibilities thanks that I was living with my parents, so there was zero cost. You know, if you have to cut expenses like social, it's like, bro, do it. So that allowed me to stay full committed and everything. And I remember January 2021, we left by being like 5 people in the company, from 60 to 5, and it was the 2 founders, another person, Miguel. So Borja, Nico, the 2 founders, Miguel, which is like operation and everything, Storm, which was related to gaming because this is a gaming startup and everything, and myself, which was like the typical meme when it's a meeting and someone is dressed like as a clone or everything. So I was like, hey.
Oh man,
So
yeah.
I was from that point, like I was the graphics designer who has been making a Instagram post presentation, but I have uh, in theory I was the first person to leave, but I stay like I want to learn, I want to be here, I want to feel part of it, and I stayed. And yeah, so 2021 was exhausting, like especially the early months. Like we have managed from it's crazy from January 1st from 2021 to 31 of December 2021 is like absolutely opposite. But the year started, the first half of the year was literally my routine was I wake up, I go to the keyboard. We were making a business plans, presentation for investors and everything like crazy for, I don't know, until 2 a.m. I just literally do I fell into the bed absolutely exhausted, and it was like that for several months, like because we always now we laugh about it, but I think to this day we make like 400 version of the business plan and the
400
and the
Okay.
around that. It's no fucking joke. And yeah, Borja and Nico pitch every fucking person you can pitch in Spain and everything, like about the idea, but no one trusts us, no one believes in the project. It was all closed doors. So summer 2021 we decided like, okay, or we make it happen by September, or definitely we have to close this stage of our life, this project and everything, because it's not working out and these things happen. So we get together. As I mentioned, we were working all remotely, each one from its house. Like Borja is from Madrid, but Nico, the other founder, is from London. Then Miguel is from another city of Spain, Segovia, and everything. So we were all like in each our homes. So we decided, okay, let's get into a home. We sacrifice the summer, but if we make it happen, we are going to make history, let's say.
Yeah.
So it's June, from June to August, we get inside the home and we start to prepare the platform and everything to be able to present. And there is a funny story that I know you like during that time, we were, imagine how broke we were. We were challenging ourselves. Maybe we ordered McDonald's and was like, okay, who has less money in the bank account? So he is safe not to pay, and was like, I have €6, I have 320, I have whatever. I always win of having less money.
Yeah, that's a big flex.
No, but it's just a funny stories that came out of this. But yeah, we call it the few money we have for Borja and Nico to fly to events, so they can pitch the idea inside, because we were seeing that in digitally and in Spain it wasn't working out. So yeah, they flew to London. They make the pitch. We start to gain some traction. At the same time, by contacting through LinkedIn and everything, we don't know how, but we managed to onboard IBM, Microsoft, Chain link. It was a chain, like a domino effect. Like first was IBM, thanks to Miguel and some connections. Like we managed to onboard them as a sponsors or as a tech partner. So they provide us with tech. They don't provide us with money, but at least we have less cost. And just having those names like Microsoft, IBM, when they were to these events, like people start to pay attention to you. Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's something that happened, and you have to assume. But yeah, fast forward to that. They went to London. The response was great. Then they went to Portugal. It was fucking awesome. Then they went to Dubai. They spent a month on Dubai. And then finally came back to Portugal, again London and everything, and came back to the Madrid, Spain. And what we didn't manage to raise even 10,000 euros here, they raised 10 millions in 2 months in going abroad and getting out there.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy story, to this point, and I'm really, curious where this whole, journey of your startup will lead you to, will lead you guys to. But anyways, just to get back to one thing, because you mentioned that for a very long time you didn't see any success, right? You guys kind of joked around who has less money in his bank account, and for a very long time it was like that, right? Nothing was really working out. Nobody wanted to invest into your idea, like into your business. So how did you guys actually manage to stay motivated, right? Like what was happening inside of your head that told you guys, okay, no, we need to keep doing that because, eventually we know it will happen, like whatever. Like, what was the process in your head?
Well, so I have to say that we have we all were like investors, and it sounds funny because it wasn't because we had a lot of money, but we had at least the investor mindset. So funny enough, and this is by far an advice or a claim, but we were all dropouts. So we first of all, we were aligned in a situation of fuck it, like we have nothing to lose. We are already in the trenches and everything. And the second thing, it was that we already were in that entrepreneurship mindset. We knew about investments, so when you get into the project, you see it more as an investment than as a business. And I think that's the biggest difference between regular business and a startup, because a startup is like you spend like as much time, like many time, let's say many time, creating the idea, then you create an MVP, which is minimum viable product. So it's something that you can show to investor to show what you want to do, and then they pour money in, so you can actually make it happen and make it like proper, make it really nice and really good. So it's different from another business, like for example an agency or whatever. That the idea is like, okay, you get a niche, you get a product to sell, and you hire contractors, and then you pitch to clients. And it's like, yeah, maybe you spend like, you receive 50 no's, but it's like just trying and that's it. And the moment you close a client, you make money, and that's a business. So startups works really different. Like you put a lot of time and effort and trust into the idea, into that is going to be built and everything, but you see it as an investment. Like no one will open a shop and say and open like, okay, I'm okay with losing money every
Yeah.
day for 10 years, you know. So yeah, I think the three key things was that we were all the one key thing was that we were aligned in the three aspects, that we were in the same situation. We all were like aligned to make, for me, the biggest lesson we could learn about business, and that we have an investor mindset, which I already think that's a good takeaway for life also, because if you go, you have you meet one person, like could be a friend or someone you want to get into as a relationship and everything. If you see that, like, how many dates do I have to have until I fuck, you know, or I paid for this, so she or he has to pay me for this. If you see that way, you are not going to build as a strong relationship as when you are with someone that is don't fucking care about who makes a plan, what we do. It's like an investment, and you get the biggest payback of those relationships that normally are from childhood, when you don't have that concept of self-interest and everything.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can see, like, as far as you just mentioned, that the vibe and like the energy inside of your, inside of your company, like inside of your startup, was very, very good, and that you guys have been pretty aligned, right, when it came to this thing. And I think that is also one of the reasons why you actually stayed motivated, even though you didn't see any success for such a long time.
Yeah.
But anyways, okay, so I mean, let's talk about like the big thing, like the main thing, right? The 10 million, raising 10 million, because obviously, I mean, that's like a pretty big thing. So, like, once again, I mean, I already told you that, but once again, congratulations. And, you guys can really be proud of yourself. So yeah, because you've been like such a close, like part of this whole team. I mean, like, you guys are like 4 or 5 people, right? So like, it's a very small, like, kind of, group, or like, family in a way. So what happened, for all of you guys, like, especially for you right now, what happened mentally when you got the message, okay, look, we just raised 10 million euros, what was happening in your head?
Okay, so I really remember the moment, because especially, like, it wasn't from night to day. It wasn't one day investment of now you have 10 millions into the bank account. It was a progressive succession of meetings that were going well. As I mentioned, that time the founders were abroad, like in London, Portugal, Dubai, and everything, closing meetings, meeting new people and everything. So the news I was receiving was like, everything is going great. We have managed to close this, that. We keep conversation with these ones, but the reality is that I was at my home, at my room. I was the business open, let's say. So I was with the daily operations together with Miguel, the rest of the team and everything. So it didn't feel that special, but I remember a call with Borja that he told me, like, bro, no, like, cheer you up, because we're really, now it's like we made it, like we are going to be safe, like that thing. And was something that, of course, in the moment makes you happy, because it's like you have worked a lot for it. But at the same time, like, I don't want to sound like as a cunt by saying this, but it doesn't change anything, like, literally, like, of course, change some material things, or some, like, for example, from December to January, we managed to hire the best people we found, like, from top tier industry, like from big companies and everything. And now we have a valid idea that people trust, but also we have the right team, and we also have fundings for actually make it happen, like in technology wise and everything. But the day-to-day was there, like, we weren't seeing what Ferrari to purchase or what Rolex to do whatever. Like I don't see that as a bad thing. Like I appreciate design, I appreciate material things, but it's something that, especially for startups, like it's not that you earn that money, it's that you earn that debt. So of course that's an accomplishment, that someone trusts you with that many debt for building that idea, but actually the money is in the business bank account. That's why I mentioned a few minutes earlier, like that I see a big difference between startups and agencies or another way of business, that actually like someone making even 1,500 euros or 1K or 3K or whatever from own business, like at least that's real money. Like you get into the bank account and you can do things,
Yeah, it's
but
yours pretty much. Yeah.
And even if it's not that big figures, but right now like 10 million is amazing. I'm fucking grateful of the team, of the work we did, and everything that we have achieved. But it's only that, and it's like the game continues. So I think like there is a lot of ego into place, because once again the same situation that happened when I drop out, that I have many things like going on in the head, like what my family will say, what my friends, what everyone is going to say. And I was like, those same people were clapping myself like, whoa, that's amazing, like all the work. And was like, yeah, but really nothing changed. I'm the same person you call like a fucking stupid by dropping out. I'm the same person right now, and at the same time like I don't have a feeling of we made it. Like we enjoy the process, and that's why we are here. And I know that this sounds too cliche, but it's the reality. Like you are here for, if you are here for the money, that's good, because actually you have some money problems to solve. But when you are left out solving all those money problems, and you have to face real problems like psychological or many other things that we face in our daily life, and you have get used to solve problems through money, when you are left out with some problem that you can solve by that, you are really fucked. I mean, especially if you have
exactly.
Especially if you have or people have put you in a situation of building your ego up and everything, like you are so fucked because you don't know what tool to use. So I'm glad of the thing that I don't see them like. Of course, we have to celebrate. Of course, we have get nice things like let's renew the computers, the phones, but it at the end of the day is still tools that we use to build. And I remember, like, I don't know if it was like 2-3 years or when Elon Musk get to the richest man on earth, and he tweeted something like, oh, that's cool, now back to work. I was like, I kind of understand, but I was like, what? But now I get it. Like, it's like you never are going to get any kind of happiness by money, unless of small pieces. Like, I don't want to sound, because I'm by far away from that community and everything, but I think like there is a balance in between. And it's like you have to know who you are, keep going with that. When society tells you you're wrong, when society tells you you're right, don't listen to any of both, like in some way. But really have a perspective of what problems you can solve with money, and you have to get money for that, and what problems you have to fix by having the right mindset, taking care of your body, taking care of everything. Because you can be rich as fuck, but only if you work out, you are going to stay healthy. Like you can delegate going to the gym. You know?
That's true. Yeah. No, I think it's very, very important, and great that you just mentioned that, because I think also for a lot of listeners or like viewers, as you mentioned, like a lot of them are, people in business, or like people that are interested into business, or like, into actually becoming financially independent, like whatever, which once again is nothing bad, right? I think we both agree on that. Yeah, exactly, because you have so much freedom, right? But there is like a big difference between being free and like using that amount of money, like that financial resource that you have to actually live a fulfilling life, and actually only making money. Because I think a lot of people get this wrong, like you just mentioned, Adrian, as well, that okay, when I reach that amount of money, all my problems will vanish. I only want, or like I only need to focus on making money, and then my life, I played my life through pretty much, right? It's like kind of done pretty much, right? And that's not exactly the truth, because maybe you already reached that amount of money, maybe you're making 10k, 20k, 30, like whatever it is per month. Like maybe you aren't in that position yet, but maybe you're thinking to yourself, okay, I need to do that, I want to do that, because you're seeing all these people on Instagram flexing around this and that. But I can guarantee you, nothing, like like Adrian, like best example, like Adrian right now, nothing will change. It's just numbers. Sure, like it's nice, but nothing really changes. And I think the most important thing, or like the far more important thing in this case, is that you focus on something that is your passion, right? Like you mentioned, Adrian, like you guys struggled for a very long time, but you guys still knew, okay, no, this is the right thing to do. We trust into this project, we trust into this idea, and we know it will happen. And that's why it is your passion, and that's why you enjoy doing it, no matter if you make money or if you lose money, actually. And I think that is the biggest difference.
Yeah, I think one thing that maybe can put this into perspective is like, I agree. I don't know if you or the people listening right now have read the book like Essentialism, that there is a cool graphic that says like you have X amount of energy. So if you focus on one progress, you are going to make like 5 times more progress instead of diversifying into 5 things. And I think that's a right concept, but it's not applied properly, because, for example, from my understanding of life, and I think I know that it's too philosophical, but I think there are 5 key pillars in life, which is health is the first one, then is learning, then is financial, then is social, and then is your passion. Okay, so of course, if you if you don't pay attention to the rest of the things, I didn't make this on purpose, sorry for that, but if you don't take care of this on health, you don't take care of learning new things, you don't take care of your passion, like I'm going to do this because it gets me money, even though I don't enjoy it, it doesn't matter. And that's a problem that many people of our parent generation has made, that get into a job even though it wasn't fulfilling just because they have a monthly paycheck. And then if you don't relationship yourself, or you don't take the time to be with your family or your friends, okay, you have money, but your life says you, fuck you, and you are left out. And the other way is like, okay, maybe you don't make as much progress. And I tell you, when I mentioned about the 2020, the early months of 2021, like I was exhausted. I didn't have any time for getting out, get some sun, getting some exercise. Like having lunch was like just whatever is the quickest. But that's okay for a period, not for a life. So you have to take care of your health, like that's the key pillar. Keep learning new things, because you maybe are working hard but not smart, and there is a smarter way to work. It's okay that you want to make money, but how much money do you actually need? Like not the 10k amount, not the 100k a year, not set up to that, really put that the numbers. Like what's your dream apartment? Do you have to take care of your parents? How much money do you have to give them monthly, you know, or you fucking like cars. I personally like cars, and I know that is a fucking stupid investment, but I really get out a lot of that. What's the car you would like to drive? Can you rent it once a month instead of fucking buy it, and you get the same of it, and you like figure it out the smart way to do what you want to do, and not put just blank numbers, because that's not going to change anything. Take care of the family and friends. Like I've been for 2 years struggling, and I know that many entrepreneurs tell you like, oh fuck everyone, get inside your home, commit to that, and that's okay. Like of course you are going to make much more progress, but when you finally made it, what you are going to do? Like who are you going to celebrate with the people you didn't talk for a year? Or your family, of course, is going to be there, but who is going? It could be proud of you, because at the end of the day, it's your family, but you didn't take care of it. For example, in my case, and I don't want to. It's something that is in my core values. Like for these 2 years, I've been is going to see my grandmas every fucking week. Like, and it's something that is in my core values, because I don't know if succeeding was going to take a 1 month of focus or 10 years, but I don't want to miss out on spending time with my grandmas, you know. They are not getting any younger. And the same with friends. Like, okay, now you have money, bro, your friends, when you don't have money, love you because of yourself, not because you have or you don't have. So the situation doesn't change. You only didn't talk with them for 1 year or whatever, you know. And finally, the last key pillar is your passion, which I know it sounds cliche and it sounds like whatever, but really, if what you are making is not tied to your inner interest, like at some point when you have to be for 2 years working without seeing any results, like that's when passion is going to kick in. That's the kind of thing, like artists, maybe they don't get paid anything, but they like what they do. They will do it for free, you know. So that's a big difference. And you know, I think there is a big misunderstanding into the industry that I don't see they are wrong. Of course, that if you only focus on money, you are going to make much more progress than in the rest of the things. But at the end of the day, that's why there are many people, and I think this is a huge topic that finally I'm seeing some people addressing, but it has been hidden for many times. That's why many people commit suicides or everything, even they have large amount of money, because they now realize that they have money, but they can solve the inner problems they have. Like fix yourself before you fix your business.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I also really respect, you know, your perspective towards that, because I think it's very immature, because not a lot of people actually, you know, realize that, and also because, as you mentioned, you know, like being at your apartment, like, you know, just focusing on your business, like on the stuff that you're doing, eventually, you know, will help you to progress in your business, like in that area of your life. But still, you're kind of paying a price for that, which is you know, losing friends, like connections with friends, family, this and that. And I think it's very important, and you know, I really appreciate that you just mentioned that, to find this kind of balance, right? Because at the end of the day, we all just have 24 hours, you know, every single day. And like, you know, time is running pretty quickly. And like you mentioned with your grandmas, for example, you know, they aren't getting younger, right? Like you can always make money, you can always do something that you want, like in your life. But for example, friends, family, or like, you know, your grandma in this case, like your grandmas, you know, they only have a limited time, you know, on this earth. So you really shouldn't, you know, lose yourself in only doing what you're doing and ignore everything around you. Because at some point, you know, I don't say it will happen, but it can happen that you will wake up kind of someday and you will be like, okay, fuck, like I kind of, you know, missed out on so many amazing things. You know, I missed out on my family and my friends, like on my girlfriend, maybe, you know, like I missed out on so many opportunities for what? Now I have 10K per month, you know, in my bank account. But, you know, what does it change, you know? And I think that's a very, very important, lesson, like learning for life as well. Because sure, making money is amazing and it's also necessary to a certain extent. So, nothing wrong with that, but don't lose yourself in only making that, like only wanting to make that. Because at the end of the day, life consists of, of those 5 pillars like you just mentioned. And you really have to pay attention to all of those pillars if you want to have a fulfilling life at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like where your focus goes, your energy flows. And also, I think to mention, like, I see many people like that maybe don't have any money, but have close friends. They have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, depending on the situation, or they, of course, have a family. They have everything, and they sacrifice all of it for getting the money. And then all the image in their head that when they have money, they are going to spend this way, that way, was with those people, like maybe they want to go on vacation. Like I respect, and I'm the first person. I like to spend time with myself, and I value a lot the time with myself. But when you get the true happiness in life, it's like when you make a trip and it's with another person, you share experience, and of course you can make your own travel, but at some point, or you can get a lot of money for yourself, but the biggest fulfillment of money is to maybe or retire your parents or secure your life for your future child, or that kind of thing. Like, if you think about it, every time you picture yourself in a good situation and maybe it has money into place, you're spending that time with other people. So just by being focus,
Laser focus,
on laser focus, don't be blind on the sideways,
Yeah, completely agree. No, that's amazing. Oh, okay. So just to get back to the thing, with the pillars in life, because obviously you are also a member of Mind Plus, and in Mind Plus, we are also talking about those pillars, like, especially about the mind, the health and the spirit pillar. So maybe, if you want to share your personal thoughts, what was your experience like, or like, what kind of influence did, being a part of the community, like of Mind Plus, have on your life, on your journey? Like, maybe if you want to share something.
Yeah, I think the best thing to share is, if you remember when I had with you the onboarding conversation, that I knew you for a few times and I follow you on Instagram and everything. But I told you, like, Adam, now I feel it's the right moment, because I think this was December 2021, so just before all of this happens, like 2-3 months ago, and I told you, like, I think we are up to big things, and I want to be ready mentally, because I know that if I experience all this without being ready mentally, the outcome is going to be way different. So I'm so fucking glad. Like, Adam didn't pay me for saying that.
Yeah, no, I'm not paying.
But really, like, I feel that for getting like, I knew that we were working for 2 years, that things started to work out and everything, but I knew that I was going to have a lot to handle, maybe especially in ego based, like the big milestone, like you made 10 millions or you raised 10 millions or whatever, that kind of thing. And it's like, bro. I was overwhelmed. Like, no, I know that I have to fix things mentally, because if not, this is not going to have a right outcome. And right now, from being in my situation in 2022, I personally know that I don't need to put the focus on learning more things about financial, about business, about anything. Like, I think I already have a base, and obviously you always have to keep sharp, but I know that it's a huge upside in learning personally. And again, from the 5 pillars, like, I know that I already know about a lot or for myself, I know enough about business and that kind of thing. I know that that I have read many books and everything, but now I have to focus more on my health, and that's like mental health, that's sleeping, that's exercising, and that's meditating and everything. And that is going to be the 80%, because at the end of the day, bro, like your bank account could survive you, but you can't survive your bank account. I don't know how to express it. Like at the end of the day, you are your biggest investment. Again, too cliche.
No, but it's completely true, and thank you for sharing. And I think there's this quote that is something like, "There are no business problems, only personal problems that reflect onto your business," right? And I think you can kind of look at it for every single aspect of your life, no matter if you're in business, in school, university, like whatever. When you don't fix yourself and your mindset, your overall health, your performance, etc., you cannot expect to be successful. Like when you are successful, you will be struggling a lot mentally, and it will kind of eat you alive. So that's why it is so important to actually master yourself and work on yourself. I mean, I know it's kind of cliche because so many people talk, especially on Instagram, like, you gotta have the right mindset, mindset. But to a certain extent, or like to a very big extent, actually, this is very true. Because, mindset can, at the end of the day, make or break you. And that's a fact. So
but I think that's the biggest difference. I think right now there is enough information into the internet, into the books, and into everything of how to make money. The only reason that someone can make, like for example, a program to teach you how to start an agency or whatever business model, that can teach you that. And from their students, there are some ones that highly succeed, and there are others that didn't make it. It's just because of the person. Because there are something that I like to highlight, and I always came to business with this mindset that it's like, in business, the first thing you are teach is about there is B2B or B2C, business to business or business to consumer. And I always thought that was stupid as fuck. Like it's always age to age, so human to human, because at the end of the day, even a business is only a person, could be a founder or could be the person you contact. So at the end of the day, you are going to get way ahead on business, but learning emotional intelligence more than intellectual intelligence or rational intelligence,
Exactly.
And it's like you have to master yourself. And again, sounds so cliche, but you will realize, like, when you because it happens for myself, when you go full gas and you're still not moving, it's because you are not realizing, but you are also with the other foot on the brake, and the brake is your emotional conflicts and everything. So as soon as you're going to make more progress, like being a bit on business, but being like really fixed and open on your emotional thing, that kind of thing. I know we can start another podcast episode just by talking about this, but there is something that, for example, just to highlight, because as I mentioned, I'm pretty rational on things. So for example, like a huge thing into the industry, like I will sleep later, I will sleep with that when I dead. I'm absolutely okay with sleeping 4 hours, that kind of thing. Like, you don't know the science, like you don't know your health, and it's like, okay, of course in your 20s you can go for 2 years, you can go for 2 years sleeping 4 hours, but the consequence is going to be later,
it will come back.
When you are 20, you can smoke as fuck, and it's like, no, I'm feeling great, I can still go for a run. The consequence is paid later. That's why I mentioned, and to close the cycle, is that why I think that the investor mindset into life is so important, because you start to learn that the actions you take today, the consequence you are going to receive later, for the good or for the bad.
Completely agree. Very, very well said. And I think a lot of people really have to be aware of that, Great. I mean, just to come to an end slowly, because I think we are talking for a very long time already. What are your plans for the future? If you want to, share like any of those plans, like roughly, what are you up to right now, like for the next months and years?
Okay, so yeah, there is a funny quote, and well, I think I talk too much, but there is a funny quote that says like the three things to keep low key in your life:
Oh yeah.
your personal relationships, your income, and
And your next
your
step.
next move. So
Yeah.
as I already said, my personal relationship and my income, I would say the next move. So yeah, I think of course there is startup wise, we have raised this amount of millions, and that's okay, but now the pressure is on, so now we have to actually make it and put our work where our mouth was. So it's like to execute on the roadmap and everything. So that's going to be a daily effort, but I'm pretty okay with that. Let's see where we are up to at the end of the year. And then personally, I just will say I will keep it simple, and I know that the biggest progress I'm going to make in business this year are going to be related to progress in my health and my mental state and all those aspects.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Really, really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I'm also really looking forward to to the journey of your startup, because I think you guys are up to like really, really big things. Oh, and by the way, like, because I think we didn't mention like once, like what's the name of your startup? So for everyone that is curious, it's Banger Games, right? If I'm
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, if you want to check them out on Instagram, or like do you have a website? I guess you have a website, right?
Yeah, we have a website, and a big flex is that if you Google us, we are going to appear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is a flex nowadays. That is true. Yeah, so check them out, Banger Games, to learn more about them and about Adrian and the founders. Great. So Adrian, maybe like one last thing. Would you have any advice, like what advice would you give to people watching or listening right now, like younger people in university, people that are maybe struggling right now, people that don't know what they want to do in life? Like, if you could give one single advice, based on your personal experience, what would it be?
That I when you are facing tough decisions that even can take you into paralysis for analysis, you already know the answer. You just question yourself the how. So when you think, let that sink in. So when you think about that, you stop questioning yourself, like the decision, is this right, wrong, I want to make it, I'm not going to make it. Like, you already know the answer. Now think about how to execute.
Awesome. No, I really love that. Well, Adrian, I think that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing all of those things. I think it's a very interesting journey, and I think it's very valuable for a lot of people watching and listening right now. So thank you so much for that. Muchas gracias. I gotta improve my Spanish a bit.
Yeah. We are going to teach you about it.
Okay, awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
No, yeah, really glad. I appreciate you a lot, your time, listen to the story, and I really hope that this is some way valuable for anyone listening. And yeah, let's fucking go.
For sure. Let's go. Yeah. So once again, thank you so much for listening or watching. If you want to check out the startup, or like Adrian as a person, I will link him down below, his Instagram. Check out the startup. It's called Banger Games. We'll link it down below as well. And also, if you want to learn more about Mind Plus, the community, that we've been talking about, that Adrian is also a part of, then you can feel free to reach out to me. I will also put a link down below where you can, schedule a call with me for free and talk with me to learn more about this whole thing. And then we can see if the energy is right, because energy is everything, and that's a fact. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to Adrian's story and for watching. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Much love, and see you next time. Bye bye.